So some new news regarding COVID recently came to light. An article was published in the New York Times by a guy by the name of David Leonhard. He published this article. I thought it was incredibly interesting. It talks about the real chances of a breakthrough infection. I'll read a little bit of it and provide a little bit of commentary. So he says the CDC reported a terrifying fact in July. Vaccinated people with the Delta variant of the COVID virus carried roughly the same viral load in their noses and throats as unvaccinated people. The news seemed to suggest that even the vaccinated were highly vulnerable to getting infected and passing the virus to others. Sure enough, stories about unvaccinated people getting COVID, so-called breakthrough infections, were all around this summer at a party in Provincetown, Massachusetts, among the Chicago Cubs on Capitol Hill. Delta seemed as if it might be changing everything. In recent weeks, however, more data has become available, and it suggests that the true picture is less alarming. Yes, Delta has increased the chances of getting COVID for almost everyone, but if you're vaccinated, a COVID infection is still uncommon, and those high viral loads are not as worrisome as they initially sounded. So he goes on to expound on a little bit of the statistics of this. So how small are the chances of the average unvaccinated American contracting COVID? Probably about 1 in 5,000 per day. So that's an average vaccinated American contracting COVID, 1 in 5,000 per day. Even lower for people who take precautions such as, I guess, wearing a mask, social distancing, etc., or live in a highly vaccinated community. But he goes on to say, or maybe 1 in 10,000. The estimates here are based on statistics from 3 places that have reported detailed data on COVID infections by vaccination status: Utah, Virginia, King County, which includes Seattle, and Washington State. All 3 are consistent with the idea that about 1 in 5,000 vaccinated Americans have tested positive for COVID each day in recent weeks. And so it's very nuanced. So it's different for places that are high in vaccination rates in contrast to places that are low in vaccination rates. Of course, if you're around a bunch of unvaccinated individuals, your chances of getting COVID, even if you're vaccinated, increases. I believe that's common sense. It doesn't take a brain neurologist to figure that out. But this is what I really want to get to. These numbers help show why the talking point about viral loads are problematic. It was one of those statements that managed to be both true and misleading. Even when the size of the viral loads are similar, the virus behaves differently in the noses and throats of the vaccinated than the unvaccinated. In an unvaccinated person, a viral load is akin to an enemy army facing little resistance. In a vaccinated person, the human immune system launches a powerful response and tends to prevail quickly, often before the host gets sick or infects others. That the viral loads were initially similar in size can end up irrelevant. And just the last thing on this, in Seattle, on an average recent day, about 1 out of every 1 million vaccinated residents have been admitted to the hospital with COVID symptoms. So in Seattle, on average, 1 in a million, literally 1 in a million residents have been admitted to a hospital with COVID. That's not like death from COVID. That's just it being admitted to a hospital. Dying from it, if you're vaccinated, the chances are even lower than 1 in a million, which is insane. The risk is so close to 0, they say, that the human mind can't easily process it. My best attempt is to say that the COVID risks for most vaccinated people are the same order of magnitude as risks that people unthinkingly accept every day, like riding in a vehicle. And of course, he's referencing, a person passing away in some kind of tragic car accident or what have you. It's about the same as you dying from COVID if you're vaccinated. And I thought that was incredibly amazing because with all the different information that we're getting, all the misinformation that's being spread about the vaccine, about COVID, about face masks, about everything, it becomes difficult, even if you're in the know, to discern what's really going on and what's really true and what isn't. But suffice to say, the vaccine is working, as we know that it has for however long now that it's been out, since we've gotten an adequate amount of data on it to really make sense of it all. But with all of the misinformation and things percolating across the stratosphere, I mean, it's easily to get misinformed if you're a person that doesn't really keep up with this sort of stuff. But I don't know. Hopefully this motivates more people to go get vaccinated, you know, so we can crush this COVID thing, man. The Delta variant, I looked at some studies. So the vaccine, as it pertains to protecting you from, I believe it is hospitalization and death, it does drop a little bit, the percentage, when it comes to the Delta variant in the original variant that we were dealing with. Like I said, we're in trying times. We've handled this absolutely terribly. This administration has their fair share of fuck-ups, and the administration that came before it, being the Trump administration, damn sure had their fair share of fuck-ups as well. The CDC, the institutions that we look to for guidance, has not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. The politicians have politicized the fuck out of this issue when it shouldn't have been in the first place. The mass population of the American people, I try to stay on our side because I am one of us, one of you, a fellow American, but Jesus Christ, there's some idiots out there that's been doing some really, really weird things, to put it very nicely. But hopefully with more studies like these coming to light, people will warm up to the idea of getting vaccinated, and they won't fall on disturbed reasons that I won't really divulge into in this video. But I thought this study, this article was extremely interesting. I'll link it down below if you would like to read it yourself. Thank you for watching. Peace.